Tav X, purely becoming one. The Gentile heathens, their history, their timeline, everything is cap. You know, that's that modern term people use. Oh, that's cap. AKA, that's a lie. Everything that they say is a lie. Basically everything. Outside of 1+1. Hold on. Hold on, please. Okay. James Harden in the house. Tav X, purity becoming one. Tav X, purity becoming one. You can see it. Tav X. Tav X, purity becoming one. Biblically vesicle in the house. Tav X. All praise to the Most High Creator, Tav X. And I don't know if your wife is listening, but tell her Tav X as well. And your future Bambino. Know how always on deck strong, Tav X. Let me see who else is on here. No, that's about it. And listen, I'm sorry it took time. These be taking time. This is the second video today and the last one today. Anything and everything, the Gentiles, their history, their timeline, their accomplishments is cat. You know, that's that modern word. So, you know, I'm an older, hoary head elder. You know, I try to stay with the times a little bit. So it says it's all cat, AKA lies. And I'm going to bring forth a crazy lie that some of you know, but you haven't seen it like this. So I want to expose it to you. And I want to expose it to you where you really realize this. You think, not all you, because a lot of you got the memo. You think that is just the apex heathen, the albino guys, leprous guys and women and kids, the cavemen, the one with SLC24A5 gene and the zebrafish gene, that's the pale gene. And how they got a zebrafish gene in it? Because they're clones. The World Fair all around the world, orphan trained babies, clones. That's where Cabbage Patch came. You think it's a joke. They put everything in front of your face. Everything in front of your face. So you think it's just them. No, it's the whole world has despised us, reviled us, hate us with such a deep hatred. And it's okay because ditto. You know, I know who I am. Do you think listening to the people that hate you, you think the people that hate you are going to ever teach you anything correct and anything good? Do you think people that despise you and revere you are going to point you in the right direction anytime? No, they're not. You can't trust them as far as you can see them. And most people are very heavy. You ain't going to be able to throw them far. You can throw them right in front of you. Right over here, over here, over here. I see you, nigga. And that's it. That's it. So you can't trust them. And it ain't just them, because what I'm going to show you, it's all the people on the earth. They're confederate with the lies. And think about it. What I'm going to show you, they lied about this and they're never going to confess to it. They're still teaching it. They're always going to they're never going to confess it to you. So do you think that they lie this big? And not just America, Europe, Asia, Russia, all of them niggas. You're going to see that all Confederate. Psalm 83. They are Confederate against Israel. To have the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Their objective is to try to teach you from a child to now. And some of you guys still believe them. They were living on a spinning ball, going 64,000 miles an hour around the sun. And inside here, we're spinning like 1,000 miles an hour. And the sun goes around, I don't know how many billion miles. Listen, do you really believe these liars? Even with my minuscule amount of science, I could destroy all these scientists. Talking about gravity. There's no gravity. Isaac Newton didn't even know electricity and electromagnetism is. That's what works here. I'm not going to go into that's another video. I'll just say that to the thing. I say, explain that to me. They be going, huh? And they got their Harvard and Yale degrees and MIT. I smashed them niggas. Because the Most High made it like that to be this way. So here at Hebron Island too, I'm saying, yo, if you still believe these niggas, I don't know what to say to you guys. And what I want you to bring from this is they're still going with this lie still today. Not just America, all the superpowers and countries all around the world, they go with this because they're confederate together. They don't want you to know who you are. They want you to think that you're like them. Even though in Isaiah 40, the Most High said, all the nations unto me are like a drop that falleth from a bucket, a small dust of the balance, considered a very little thing. All nations before me are as nothing less than nothing and vanity. They want you to think that you like them. Like all people that say, no, he ain't. Come to Hebron Island 2, you're going to be crying, sad, and say, ooh, he's a hater. He's racist. No, the Most High is the biggest racist. He loves only one set of people, and he doesn't change. People that he gave the breath of life, his spirit. That's why you figure out, why these apex heathens, they're like merciless, like animals. Because he made them, there's people before the true people of the Most High. Those are those people. He made them with the trees, the animals, the whales, the hyenas, the jackals and shit. That's those people. Those are those orphan train. Those are descendants of the orphan train babies, the World Fair people. So it is what it is. So what I'm trying to show you in this video is that they will never tell the truth. Why would you believe anything them niggas have to tell you? It's all lies. I told you when you go to school, your elementary school, from your elementary school, middle school to high school, that's just regular brainwashing. When you go to the higher education, like college, university, that's advanced brainwashing. These niggas are so brilliant. That's why I can defeat them. They got a one-track mind. I only repeat what they told me. That's why you're going to lose, because you're taking information from a devil. Devil means deceiver. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you 2 videos. One, I don't know how many, like maybe 15 minutes. The other one is only like a couple minutes or whatever. But watch both of them in entirety. You should have the clearest picture you ever had of it. I know some of you goes, I kind of know that already. No, when you hear it this way, it's going to be, oh, shit. I am working with a devil. There's an extreme devil. I don't believe nothing he says. Oh, I believe nothing he says. They will never come out of this lie. A liar, like a thief, will always be a thief. A rapist will always be a rapist. A pedophile will always be a pedophile. A liar will always be a liar. The abominable gang. Always going to go back to the muck and mire and the vomit and eat it up again. They'll stop for a while. Yeah, I'm stopping. I'm not an alcoholic no more. A month too later, they'd be like, yo, what's up, man? Drunk again. Get out of here. So anyway, let me go fair use. I'm gonna get right into it. Hopefully this will be edifying. It'll be a different take than what you heard before. It's going to be a more thorough, because it was more thorough for me too. That's why I'm sharing it with you, because my video on my notes are my videos. I'm gonna turn this fan down. This computer that was gifted to me, and I'm very grateful. I know I don't forget. It was gifted to me, the second one, because I was having problems with one, and somebody was kind enough to love, not in word, but in deed, to call help. So I use it all the time. Fair use, fair use. Fair use, fair use. I'm very appreciative. I love my people. My job here on the planet, on the earth, is to fear the Most High, keep His commandments, reverence Him, walk only in His ways, fear Him and keep the commandments, have undivided loyalty to Him, to glory in my devotion to Him. And I'm trying to be an example to you guys that are watching and who will watch this on the replay. There's a side you got to pick, and you better pick quick. And when I show you these videos, where's the video? Listen, and I tell you this a lot of times already. The majority of the world are heathen Gentiles. The majority of the Negroes are Catholics, Christians, voodoo priests, Messianic Hebrews, Islamics, and Asian religions, and just heathen, just atheists. Is a very small remnant of Hebrew Israelite, Torah Tanakh only. So I don't want to lead my people into, hey, listen to this guy, listen to that. Because I listen to the majority. I'm even telling you there's only maybe a handful of strict Torah Tanakh only, no frills, no playing around Torah Tanakh only Israelites, teachers. I don't call myself a teacher, more I call myself a Koheleth. And I'm one of few out of the whole world. And I know because I surf the web and all those social medias, and all of them are basic messianic. And the few that are Torah and Tanakh, you got to still even watch those couple, because they say stupid things, some stupid things that are oppose the Most High totally. Can't even get out of the first 3 commandments. So, as one of my subscribers always says, chew the meat, spit out the bones. I say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You don't need to know who it is. And you probably know who it is when you hear his voice. Remember, they deal in truths and lies. I'm going to take the meat out, which is these 2 video clips. You don't need to go, because it's very sneaky. Torah only, but I'm talking about Mama and Papa. And you should probably know who I'm talking about now. And some of you weak people that don't study that much, Scooby-Doo, all this stuff is sound good, and then they slip in them Mama, Papa, or some other easy thing, and then you're off in left field, and then you're going into the hot volcano at the end. I'm trying to spare you from that, because I know you guys don't do thorough research. So you don't need to know, who's this? Just listen to what I'm showing. Listen to the co-help. Trying to help you out here. Fair use in the caboose. Fair use. Now let me turn this fan down so you can hear 100%. Remember, the title of my video is The Gentiles' History, Timeline, and Accomplishments is All Cat. And that's what it is. It's all cat. I want you to listen to all of this so you can get the picture. You're dealing with a supreme liar. And if he lied about this, he lied about everything else. He don't want you to know that there's a creator. That's why he says you're on a spinning ball. That's why there could be other universes, which they could, but we are the stars of this. They want you to think that you're equal to them and you're really not significant. Here at Hebron Island 2, you're the most significant out of all his creation. And they don't want you to know, they don't want you to come to know who you are. So they're going to say, oh, there's Big Bang Theory, there's this, we can go to the moon, we can go to Venus, there's other things. No, well, that's cap, AKA lies. Watch this. You ain't going to hear me talk no more. You're going to just enjoy this information. And you should want to gain knowledge. Me, when I study all Torah, Tanakh, Torah, Naveen, and Ketuvim, science, and history, and other things that are relevant to us waking up and fearing the Most High, keep His commandments, and living who we are. Check it out. Hold on, let me find it. Okay.
For this man.
Since the beginning of recorded history, the human race has been at war. First with members of their own family, then their fellow countrymen, and finally nations at large. Yet perhaps...
Hold on, man. I'm just going to belly fly, man. You know, we only got a few minutes. So, we've been talking JFK. Let's belly flop on the JFK, man. Let's go.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things.
Now, this is the fool that banned Blue Marvel, man. 1961, right? What a belly flop. We out of here, baby.
Because they are easy, but because they are hard. We take an additional risk by making it in full view of the world. But as shown by the feat of astronaut Shepard, this very risk enhances our stature when we are successful.
The technology necessary to launch the massive Saturn V rocket and an intercontinental ballistic missile is 95% similar. When the Soviet Union launched man's first satellite, Sputnik, in 1957, there was grave concern that they had mastered space ahead of the United States and might use this advantage to launch a first nuclear strike from an orbit high above North America. When they also put the first animal in space, then the first man in space, then achieved the first spacewalk, the first crew of 3, and the first ever of 2 simultaneously orbiting spacecrafts, concern turned to fear and then horror as America watched their communist enemy achieve all these firsts with no hope in sight of ever catching up.
President, a member of Congress said today that he was tired of seeing the United States second to Russia in the space field. I suppose he speaks for a lot of others. What is the prospect that we will catch up with Russia and perhaps surpass Russia in this field?
However tired anybody may be, and no one is more tired than I am, it is a fact that it's going to take some time. And I think we have to recognize it. They secured these large boosters, which have led to their being first in Sputnik and led to their first putting their man in space. We are, I hope, going to be able to carry out our efforts with due regard to the problem of the life of the men involved this year. But
man, look at all the pressure JFK was under, man. Like, come on, man. When are we going to put somebody in space? So what they do, they started building underwater facilities and see how they can fake it to the American public, right? For the dismount.
We are behind.
If it was impossible to better the Soviets in the space race, which was really a race of technological armaments, what could be done? Could America offset the threat of superior weaponry? Throughout the history of rivalry and war, generals of lesser armies than their counterparts have used deceit and misinformation as a method to achieve victory. In World War II, for example, columns of inflatable tanks were placed in locations afar from Normandy to draw German forces away from the real location of invasion. The Star Wars missile defense program rigged tests to make it seem more advanced than it really was. That's the conclusion of the General Account Office. The aim was to fool the Soviet Union about US military readiness during the Cold War.
Cold War.
Certainly, it was not possible to fool just the Soviets about US strategic capability in the 1960s, while somehow informing 200 million Americans of the truth secretly. In order for them to believe the United States had the capability to go to the moon, everyone would have to believe it. Furthermore, the pride of a nation was at stake, and the goal of a martyr, not to mention the growing unrest domestically of a government throwing tens of thousands of lives away in a foreign war riddled with contradiction and ambiguity. In addition, the Apollo program had already spent billions of dollars. If it failed to achieve its goal with such an investment, it would indeed be a large and bitter pill for the taxpayers to swallow. The cost of the program, whose sole goal was to be the first to plant a flag on the lifeless rock just outside the Earth, if adjusted for inflation to the 21st century, was $135 billion. With a profit margin of just 7%, this would be equal to over $9 billion profit going to the privileged contractors chosen by their friends at NASA. If the machinery was in fact only achieving Earth orbit, as other earlier missions had already done, then the completion and functionality of the other components would not have been as important, and even more profit would have been made. $135 billion could feed 2 million people for their entire lives. It could also buy 2 million two-bedroom houses. Yet how could such an undertaking be kept secret, and for such a long time? To the latter, one needs only to remember that an unsolved riddle, 6 years older, assassination of President Kennedy, still daunts the minds of the vast majority of Americans. As a parent of a conspiracy, as his assassin being assassinated himself, the truth of the matter has still escaped history. In keeping a secret of the magnitude of the Apollo missions being fraudulently created, one turns to the Manhattan Project for comparison. Surreptitiously building the first nuclear bomb during the early to mid-1940s involved one...
I mean, which secret was he keeping? We got the comic flow. He had the secret, trying to, the Blue Marvel. He had to let him go because of the secret of him being a colored Negro Messiah. And if he had the secrets on the real space program situation, then he also knew he wasn't on no damn ball. And was he going to give up them secrets too? Rest in power, JFK, man.
129,500 people over a 3-year period. Yet the secret did not get out. A quarter century later, the art and technology of espionage inevitably improved, narrowing dramatically the number of players in the know of a large clandestine operation. Just 1 year before the first mission to the moon, NASA launched the Tetra satellite, specifically designed to simulate flight data coming from the moon, so that the ground crews could rehearse the landing, much as the astronauts did in their own simulations. Had it not supposedly fallen back to Earth, all that would have been needed during the actual flight would be a repeat of one of these computer programs, with a few original variations, transmitted to the satellite for rebroadcast to Houston. Scores of computers and their deceived operators on the ground would then receive prearranged information, including the alleged location, altitude, and fuel consumption of the spacecraft, as if it were descending to the moon's surface. If the Soviets tried to find the actual location of an Apollo crew in the hundreds of thousands of miles surrounding the Earth and the moon, it would be tantamount to trying to find a rowboat in the Atlantic Ocean. The fact that the Apollo program was so departmentalized, with various construction and test sites around the country, meant that only a few people saw the whole picture. And for the first time ever, there was no independent press coverage of such an historical event. Whatever pictures and sound were distributed to the public was strictly controlled and previewed by the federal government. They were then disseminated unchecked until this hour. For who would realize that the unthinkable was not only possible, but absolutely true? And what of the photographs? What do they tell us? On 3 separate occasions, our office asked NASA's Public Relations Department for every single picture of an astronaut on the surface of the moon, just during the maiden voyage of Apollo 11. Many duplicates were sent. In all, fewer than 20 pictures were found, including first-hand investigation on site at the agency's vaulted archives. Quite surprising, considering the historical significance of the event. These very photographs are the same ones circulated year after year on anniversary commemorations. It is estimated that in just the first 60 minutes on the moon, motivated by the tenuous nature of the circumstances, many more exposures could have been expediently taken. Also surprising is the scarcity of photographs of the mission's chief pioneer, Neil Armstrong, the greatest achievement in human history, and of the man whose first step echoed around the world, dawning a new age of scientific enlightenment. There is only one full-body picture of him on the moon, besides this ghostly reflection. This one, taken by an automatic camera mounted on the side of the lunar module. Perhaps he feared liability should the whole conundrum later become unraveled. Perhaps he has forgotten that he attested to the authenticity of the event with his signature on this plaque engraved by the federal government. In fact, in the more than 30 years since the event, aside from NASA's initial press conference and the occasional brief anniversary remarks where few questions were permitted, he has never given one on-camera interview to anyone, ever. From an analytical standpoint, photographic anomalies have to be sought out with an understanding of lighting and shadows. The most straightforward is simple. When objects are lit solely by the sun, as all the scenes on the moon were said to be, after all, lighting equipment was not only impractical, it was unnecessary in bright sunlight, then all shadows, regardless of the landscape, will run parallel with one another and never intersect, as shown by this example. In these seldom seen photographs, from a rarely used auxiliary NASA archival site, it is clear that these scenes were lit with artificial light. These shadows, which are cast at different angles, are evidence that a second light source is being used. In addition, the sun would not cause an isolated hotspot like this, only an artificial light would. Again, intersecting shadows and another hotspot. And again. And again. It is simply impossible for this picture to have been taken with sunlight on the moon. Here, the shadows are shown to be as black as pitch. And yet here, completely in a shadow, the astronaut is lit up like a Christmas tree. How can this be? Or this, on the shadow side of the lunar module. In this magnification Apollo photograph, a rock, very likely a papier-mâché prop because of the crease here, is categorized with the letter C. In later releases of the same picture, the letter is gone, probably airbrushed out. Here, a crosshair, which was burned directly into the image from the film plate, and thus should always appear on top of the objects in the photograph, appears behind the object in this scene, clearly revealing a composite of 2 pictures into one.
Uh-oh.
Someone apparently forgot to create a burn crater underneath the lunar module's 10,000-pound thrust engine, despite the fact that during ground tests there was a real concern for the vehicle falling into the hole the engine created as it descended.
This thing just landed with no burn crater. Everything's just fluffy underneath. These people did not cover the details. Let's get a couple more minutes, man. Funny thing happened on the way to the moon, because it never happened.
Here is a depiction based on the latest specifications and scientific data. In these enlargements, it looks as though the lunar module was simply placed there, not even one speck of moon dust on the landing pod.
Whoa.
As a result, all subsequent flights had to have the same discrepancy, which was explained away by the effect of no atmosphere.
Ignition.
And what about stars? On the moon, with no atmosphere, they must have been quite a sight to behold. Yet there is seldom any mention of them, if ever, by any of the astronauts on any of the missions. Undoubtedly, creating Ural with all the constellations properly placed in the sky would have been virtually impossible to create accurately, much less realistically. A competent amateur astronomer would have been able to call attention to the slightest error in measurement. The answer? Not to talk about the stars. Ever. In their post-flight press conference, it was the only question to which Neil Armstrong responded with an absence of memory.
When you looked up at the sky, could you actually see the stars and the solar corona in spite of the glare?
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar corona what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
Years later, though, Michael Collins would remember seeing the elusive stars and wrote about them in expeditions to the moon. It seems his memory improved the older he got. Why don't stars appear in any of the photographs? Simply because the proper, mostly closed exposure setting for the camera's iris, set that way to compensate for the bright sunlight on the moon's surface, completely diminished the faintness of relatively distant specks of diminutive light. This answer is true. It does not, however, explain why they never took any pictures of the stars by themselves, with an exposure setting perfect for them. While they took 3 automobiles to the moon, they never took a photographic telescope. Had they done so, they would have been able to see farther into the universe than had ever before been realized. If they had taken a telescope and were not actually on the moon, they would have had to concoct undiscovered galaxies that might one day prove to be non-existent. The cost of the 3 moon rovers in 21st century currency? Nearly $60 million each, though they had fewer parts than a Jeep. Where was all this money going? Then there's the flag, blowing in the wind, at least twice, on the atmosphereless moon. We can only guess that most of the missions were staged inside, for fear of possible aerial or satellite reconnaissance from an unfriendly nation. The backpacks, designed for 1/6 gravity, must have had the cooling systems removed to allow for movement without falling over. With very near and hot studio lighting, that left one hot astronaut inside. Assuming that it was the astronauts inside, after all, their faces were always covered. The necessary mammoth amounts of air conditioning were probably responsible for the air current.
There's no atmosphere on the moon, boss.
Here the editor cuts to a still shot of the flag, just as the effect becomes noticeable. Here it is unchecked. This rare clip, attained decades ago, was never re-released, with the inevitable increase in expense and scrutiny.
Come on, brother.
To demonstrate 1/6 gravity, a bouncy, floaty feel to the astronauts' movements would be similarly achieved with relative simplicity. Slow motion. You are who quickly prompts them with talk. Immediately, Neil Armstrong speaks.
Hello, Apollo 11. Houston, Goldstone says that the TV looks great. Over. Okay,
Again, the illusion they are attempting to create is the Earth at a distance to demonstrate their far journey from it and their ability to survive passing through the Van Allen radiation belts. Understand, too, that only about 20 seconds of this raw footage was ever broadcast to the public, and these conversations discussing their deception were believed to be private until now. Here they discuss that these television transmissions were in fact not broadcast live as everyone believed. They were first screened and edited for playback later.
Roger, dear. We just wanted an area such that we can, when we get to playback, we can sort of correlate what we're seeing. Thank you very much.
Here they discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows, as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we set out the sun coming in from the other windows into the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light.
The reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed. It is this. Though the federal government would have you believe that this is a view of Earth from a distance out of the spacecraft's window as it nears the moon, it is not. What they have ingeniously done is placed the camera at the back of the spacecraft and centered the lens on a circular window in the foreground, outside of which it is completely filled with the Earth in low orbit. The circumference of the window then appears to be the diameter of the Earth at a distance, with the darkened walls of the spacecraft appearing to be the blackness of space around it.
Look, this is necromancy. This is magic. Right? They just position their lens in the back of the ship, turned off the lights, and zoomed in and put like some type of barrier or border, so that the lens is only catching a piece of this Earth. This is the Earth, but it's just a slither of it. And they're going to remove whatever little boundary they put, and you're going to see that outside the window, they're so low to the Earth that the entire screen is covered with the flat Earth, Manaya. They're so close to the Earth, they make it look far, but this lens deception, literally deception, by putting the lens in the back of the ship, zooming in and making a boundary or border so that you can't see the rest of it. And what happens when they unveil the truth?
That is why they wanted the interior dark and blocked out the sun from entering through the other windows. Here you can see the extruded window, probably 2 inches thick at the bottom. This is because the Earth's shine is coming in at a downward angle. It also causes the Earth to appear to be an irregularly shaped circle, for you are seeing the outside of the window at the bottom and the inside of the window at the top, which together form 2 different sized halves of a circle. Subsequently, this take was never used. As they perfected the shot, a crescent-shaped piece of black material was inset slightly into the window to create the illusion of the Earth's terminator line dividing night and day. It is uncannily convincing. During this segment, intended to be edited and played back later for the worldwide television audience, dated July 18, 1969, Neil Armstrong condemns himself as he states that he is 130,000 miles out, or halfway to the moon, as the NASA flight log also states on this date, when he is in reality in low Earth orbit of a few hundred miles.
Roger, Houston, Apollo 11. Calling in from about 130,000 miles out.
Here, during another segment, also intended to air after review, Neil Armstrong falsely explains to the viewers how the shot is attained by putting the camera's lens to the window's glass, as it would have to be if they were the claimed distance from the Earth.
We only have one window that has a view of the Earth, and it's filled up with the TV camera.
If the window was completely filled up with a TV camera, as he stated, then an astronaut's arm would not be able to get between the camera and the window, as it obviously does here in this outtake.
North America becomes invisible just beyond the Terminator or inside the shadow.
You can also notice how the astronaut operating the camera reacted to the mistake by attempting to pan away from it.
Yeah. The white band, major cloud formation across the Earth.
This is a set that they believed wasn't even being recorded, much less suitable for broadcast. The lens was being zoomed out, and the scene was being changed to that of an interior of the astronauts at work. And apparently the stop button popped back up on the recorder without notice.
Boss.
Here is the diffused work light that they used to see camera controls, but not throw light onto the spacecraft's wall. Here they remove part of the crescent insert. iris is opened up and you can see the real location of the camera and the very bright and near Earth out the window.
Got lights on. What happened to that little ball? Your whole window is filled with the low Earth orbit. Your whole window is filled with the melanated true Earth plane. You're not 130,000 miles away, boss. You're right on top of the flat plane for the dismount.
Here is the slate for the 19th of July, and the same shot of trickery on the 19th of July, and then the 20th, and the same.
And you ask you ask somebody if they seen a real picture of the Earth, man, they gonna pull up this picture from Apollo or yada yada, and all it is fraudulent, fake cap.
Misleading shot on the 20th. Later that evening, they were said to be walking on the moon. How can this be when they were in Earth orbit only 9 hours earlier?
Come on,
and the
bro.
moon is some 3 days' journey away. Furthermore, if they genuinely went to the moon, why would they be faking any part of it? Why this trickery with the window? By faking being halfway to the moon, it becomes apparent that they did so because they could not even go halfway. It thus confirms that the stumbling block to their success was the lethal radiation of the Van Allen radiation belts. Since the same equipment was used on the subsequent missions in the 40 months that followed, none of them could have gone to the moon. They only increased their proficiency at staging them. When some TV viewers of the second manned mission to the moon telephoned the networks complaining that reruns of I Love Lucy were being interrupted, it became clear that for the taxpayers, once was enough. But it wasn't enough for the government and contractors. Billions of dollars of pure profit went with each return. And
they took them billions and started firing nukes. Operation, what's that? Fishbowl, right? Paperclip, high jump, or high jack. What they do with all these billions, my night, when they was doing all this fake capital shit. Hello to the bro Dizzle Fitty, man, who hit us with that doc. He said, man, I found the link to this great doc, man, and we featured it, man. And Dizzle Fitty, you got the drop, man. Dizzle Fitty got the flat drop, man. MHOE Dizzle Fitty, man. Top Battle is dropping some Soul Bone podcast drop. Okay, go dig on the Soul, top of the Soul Bone, SOLBONE podcast. See what Top Battle's up to, man. I got some of it here, but there's a lot more for you right there at Soul Bone Podcast on IG, man. So, Little America, aviation, yeah, Little America, bird in there, God. Okay. It says the club security or secretary who acts as editor of these articles has no direct word from Abel since the day that Jacob Rupert reached the barrier in the Bay of Wales. He had however, received messages through the i.s.u.p.k radio and Bird headquarters. I can't see the rest. Oh. This jabroni get lost or something, man? There's a lot going on, man. They just coming up missing. With Antarctica, a balmy 38 degrees. they talking about Fahrenheit, man. The boys decide to go swimming. So, it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, either way. Oh, Fahrenheit. It says it was a sunny summer day here where the seasons are reversed back home. The air temperature was 38 degrees Fahrenheit, about as warm as Antarctica ever gets. The water temperature was a fraction above something degrees, the freezing point of the salty McMurdo station. So they wanted to go swim. Oh yeah, that's another one we got to dig on. One of the jobs of the United States Navy's Operation Deep Freeze is to test newly developed cold weather survival equipment. Stop it, man. So we got Operation Defreeze, right? As well as Operation High Jump or High Jag. It's a great collection of articles. The Wada Aqua Top Battle about this Antarctica situation. Antarctic flyers return home. The crew of the first plane to reach the Antarctic continent of the Operation Defreeze expedition, first ever to bisect the Antarctic continent and the first to see at least 2 new mountain ranges in Antarctica, was the first crew home yesterday. They are looking for more lands beyond the pole. Covered 40,000 miles. They found several possible landing places at the pole at an altitude of 9,000 feet. $40,000 miles. Now they're saying they're 130,000 miles away from Earth. They went 40,000 miles already, and they went straight. They went straight, man. So nothing but collaborating evidence and drop, showing that they've been going straight. They've been finding more land and more worlds beyond the poles, and they went silent about it, formed the Antarctic Treaty, and now they got astronauts. Now we're talking about fakery and cappery of spinning balls. Y'all get this drop, man. Yeah. South Pole, other creatures lie dormant, survivors perhaps from a prehistoric age when Antarctica was warm and green. I think they know Antarctica is warm and green. They know. Little America, the winter down here, and then the North and South Pole keeps getting warmer and warmer. The world is shrinking with an ever consistent shrinkage, says Admiral Byrd. It just keeps getting warmer and warmer, man. It's all happening. In spite of the apparent basic division of the American Antarctica into 2 sections, its great ice cap gives a general aspect of oneness, which is unique. This unity is further expressed in the climate and in life that is, of course, restricted to coastal zones. Restricted. I thought it wasn't illegal, but it is restricted in adjoining seas, whereas everywhere one finds the same species of seals, whales, and birds with an average altitude estimated at 6,000 to 7,000 feet above sea level. This is by far the highest of all continents. New world. New map of the new world. And all you're going to do is see more and more recon that they've been exploring. They've been seeing what they've been seeing, covering up what they've been covering up. And did y'all know about the Black Hawk, man?
All right. Hopefully you guys hung in there. Hopefully it was something interesting. Remember, chew the meat, spit out the bones. Now I'm going to give you one last one. This is short. It's very short. Let me do this right. It's very short. It's only a couple minutes, and we'll get out of there, and we'll call it wraps. All right, here we go. Hold on. Here it is. So I'll give a couple words, and we'll call it a wrap. All the Gentiles, the Heathen Gentiles, history, timeline, and accomplishments is all cap, aka lies. Wake up.
Yeah. Watch a rocket. They're going to kind of clip this up. And let's just go along for the ride. And just notice, man. Let's see how long it goes straight up. Because they always start curving, right? They always start curving. reload because I see them playing with us. I want to see it clear. You see that right there? I want to see that clear. As clear as possible. Because it don't get no better, man. I've never seen it this clear. A rocket splash into the waters above the way this rocket is about to splash. I wonder if, like, they're hitting random spots. Knowing them, this thing is probably, like, calculated to hit some type of crack that maybe they cracked before. And they are hoping to get through some weakness or weaker parts of it. That would make sense. What SpaceX might be doing, you know, really targeting certain areas of firmament. Watch this real close, my niggas.
You're not nagas.
We are T plus 40 seconds into the flight. Starship 33 Raptor engines powering the first stage.
Power and telemetry nominal.
We've heard power and telemetry nominal color. We're headed downrange over the Gulf of Mexico.
Then they cut to some super wide shots. So bear with them, you know, bear with them. I think that first close shot probably also, I don't know, I mean, maybe they didn't want us to see it up close, or maybe that was the point of impact. You know, maybe the camera went out because of the so-called explosion. But just pay attention, man. These are like missiles. Well, they are missiles. They're saying test flights to us. Starship, right? Starship. But really, man, these are like targeted missiles, I think, hitting certain areas of this firmament, man. Let's see it. Let's see it. Here we go. Here we go.
Separation.
Some type of separation.
Here they come. Here they come.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Here they come. Here comes, yes, number one.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Getting floated. Here they come. Here comes, yes, number one.
Woo, look at that splash in the waters above. Do y'all see clearly? That ain't smoke, my nigga. That's water. And that's an ocean up there, man.
Here comes, yes, number one.
Woo.
Now, did this one kind of get through part of the barrier and into the waters above? Because obviously, you know, there's a firmament separating the waters below from the waters above. I don't know. It didn't start raining right after, nothing like that, but it definitely was a big splash. Maybe this is high ether water before the firmament. I don't know. Because I remember that August Picard commercial, and he went straight up and crashed into that water, right? Hold up, man. Ooh, we having too much fun. Hey, y'all let me know if I'm overdropping. You know, it's Flat Drop 101, but there's so much drop coming across the drop desk.
All right. Hopefully you stayed in there. Hopefully this was entertaining to you. It was entertaining to me. Listen, you hearing, hey Nagas, listen, you can go look up. If you don't believe me, like I said, you guys research and do what you do. Ezekiel chapter 14, though Job, Daniel was in it, they had to save themselves from their for their own righteousness. That's good information about the space, all the lies. I'm presenting it to you. I'm chewing the meat, spitting out the bones. He's saying Nagas, and you know what a Naga is? A Naga is a serpent person, like together. Has a tail, arms, and snake. And hey, what's up, Nagas? Nagas. Listen, I told you in the beginning, and I've been telling you on this channel, you have to be careful of people who are in a sort of disguise, a 50-50 with this, because they're going to lead you down a road that's going to lead to that hot volcano at the end of you, or the end of this system, because you're going to be jiving. Wow, this is good. Okay, Naga, this, Scooby what? And the next thing you know, you're going to be saying the Most High has a wife or a girlfriend or some shit, or you're going to start thinking that you're a Naga or something. So I don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I chew the meat and spit out the bones. I'm telling you to do the same thing. I'm showing you just information on my video called The Heathen Gentiles. History, timeline, and accomplishments is all cap. Cap means lies. So don't believe any of it. This is a new Yeshua Israel. Hebrew on the island too. Until next time. I made 2 videos today. If you're just coming on new to this one, when I close this one out, go to the video I just made about 2 hours ago, hour and a half. And it doesn't have any other videos. It's about a topic that I was talking about. Let me give, there's not too much shout out. Anuha is always in deck. All praise to the Most High Creators on deck. Biblically Vesico, you're on deck. King David on deck. And that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Just more ammunition to put in your gun belt against the heathen Gentiles. This is New Year's from Israel. Keep on the island too. Until next time.